Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Houston Sports Talk back in another video today. And today the Houston Astros beat the Tampa Bay Rays. Not just beat the Tampa Bay Rays, sweep the Tampa Bay Rays, which is great for the Astros because as they lost the series in Houston, as Tampa Bay won that series 2-1, the Astros get the first two wins of this series. Obviously, that advances the Astros record to 3-2 against the Tampa Bay Rays. And then this game right here was going to decide whether the Astros won the season series against Tampa Bay or they were, or if that would have gone to Tampa Bay. Because Tampa Bay would have won this game today, it would have ended 3-3, and Tampa Bay would have held a tiebreaker winning that last game. So, I know Tampa Bay with this loss and them getting swept, now they are 2 games under 500 at 59-61, but still a lot of baseball left in this season and over a month left. I mean, we saw what the Astros did in over a month. The Astros in June from July, they were 7 games under 500, and then a month later, they're at first in the division on July 19th. And like 3 or 4 games over 500. So it doesn't take long to get hot if you're a baseball team. I don't think Tampa Bay really has the team to do that like the Astros did in such of a short span. But I think anything can happen when it comes to baseball. So it's good that the Astros did win the season series. If Tampa Bay does catch hot and the Astros maybe fall a little bit due to a hard schedule, the Astros do, hold the tiebreak. I don't think that tiebreaker is going to come into handy for the Astros because I think Tampa Bay is just going to continue to keep losing while the Astros are going to continue to keep winning. But that is definitely, you're definitely glad to have that anyways. But great win for the Astros, 2-1 in extra innings, and a rare extra innings win going into this game. Astros like 4-9 or 4-10 in extra inning games this year. They've been terrible in extra inning games this year, but they get the win 2-1. This was not a pretty win. This was a sloppy win. If you look at this 8-game winning streak, now that the Astros have won this game, this is their second straight sweep and their third straight series win in this 8-game winning streak. If you look at the first 7 games, offense was absolutely beautiful. There's not a game in those 7 games where the offense does not have, 9 or more hits. In the first 6 games of this winning streak, they had 10 or more hits. But then yesterday, the Astros only had 9 hits against the Tampa Bay Rays. So yesterday's game was the first time the Astros didn't have double-digit hits in this series. Then today, they only have 2 hits. Now, luckily, this was a game for the Astros where the pitching was so dominant to the point where their offense, they didn't need much from their offense. The Astros, pitching, were able to, not give up that much to the Rays offense. It was like the same thing. The Astros scored 2 runs while the Rays scored 1, and both teams had 2 hits. So it's not like the Astros got out hit in this game because both teams had 2 hits. This was a very sloppy, pitching-dominant baseball game, and the Astros just had better I mean, look, I don't know if you could say the Astros' offense was better in this game. Yes, they scored 1 more run, but both teams had 2 hits. Both offenses were terrible today. But I would say the Astros' pitching was better. I would say the Astros' pitching was a little bit better. But both teams played very poorly in this game. But I think the good thing about this offense struggling is I'm glad that we saw this offense struggle in a win. Sometimes we'll see this offense struggle after, at a point where they start taking some L's. Even though the offense had 9 hits yesterday, I don't think we saw the best from the offense. In their win yesterday, 3-2. The offense was a little bit sloppy, not great with runners in scoring position. In this game, they didn't really have any runners in scoring position up until the end of the game when Mauricio Dubon hit an RBI single. But in that game yesterday, the second win, when the Astros won 3-2, the offense wasn't that good. They got hits. They got 9 hits, but they only scored 3 runs. Offense wasn't that good. The pitching was great. But I think it's good where the Astros have these games, these last 2 games, where their offense is struggling, which has not been the case in the last 8 games. Only 11 hits in the last 2 games, while the pitching has still been able to be so good for the Astros in these last two games, to the point where the Astros are able to get the win. So I think it's great that the offense is struggling in these last two games, but they're not struggling so bad to the point where the Astros can't score runs, and the pitching is doing such a good job that the Astros are able to get these closer, low-scoring game, these close, low-scoring games where they're winning the ball games. Tonight, 2-1. Yesterday, 3-2. So, and what's even better is that the Astros are going into the off day tomorrow, which I think for a offense that has been so hot recently, up until this game, offense has been killing it recently. I think a couple of struggling games like we've seen recently, where you can just tell their bats are starting to get a little bit tired, and they really proved that today. For them to get an off day tomorrow on Thursday, that has to be amazing. And then on Friday, you're back at home against the worst team in baseball in the Chicago White Sox. I think for a offense that's been so good, and that they have to be starting to get tired, you couldn't wish for them to be playing a worse team than the Chicago White Sox. So this is going to be a great weekend matchup for the Astros. I think it will start off a little bit rocky facing Garrett Crochet. In the first matchup, Astros struggled against him in Chicago. We'll see if that's different this time go around. I think this series against Chicago coming up is going to play two different ways. I think the Astros are going to either sweep the White Sox and win every single game and take this winning streak to 11, or I think on Friday night we'll see the winning streak end and they'll lose and struggle to Garrett Crochet, facing Garrett Crochet again, and then win the next two games on Saturday and Sunday and win the series 2-1. But I see it going either way. I think it's just a little bit tough because you're facing such a great pitcher in Garrett Crochet. But I think most likely the Astros sweep the White Sox. I think it's just a little bit tough since we're facing their ace on Friday night. But Spencer Arrieta's on the mind as well. So it's going to be an interesting series. I think it's going to be a series where Astros have good pitchers on the mound. Their pitchers have been dominant recently. I think this is another series where their pitchers remain dominant. But let's go over this game. There's not a lot of There's not a lot to go over. There wasn't a lot of hits. There wasn't a lot of runs scored. 2-1 is the final score. 2 hits for each team. 1 error for the Astros, 0 for the Rays. Win goes to Josh Hader. He's 5-6 on the year now. He pitched 2 innings, giving up 0 hits, 0 earned runs, 3 strikeouts, 0 walks. He was fantastic. This was the fourth time he has gone 2 innings for the Astros this season. Loss goes to Clevenger. He's 7-3 on the year now. He pitched 1 inning in the 10th, giving up 1 hit. Didn't get the earned run charged to him because Leon scored on being the ghost runner. 2 strikeouts, 1 walk for Clevenger. I gotta say, Leon pissed me off with there was a fly ball. Leon was base running for pinch running for Yainer Diaz, and next up at the plate was Jeremy Pena, and we see Pena hit a fly out that's deep enough in center field to for Pedro Leon to tag to third base, and he's tagging the third base. And he just goes in there standing up. He easily could have been thrown out at third base. And honestly, the Astros probably don't win this game today if it isn't for him being lucky and not getting thrown out. He has made some stupid mistakes. I'm not. I mean, look, I was really confident for him coming in, and I've seen some decent things at the plate. He's had a couple hits, but he strikes out a lot. And he's made 2 mistakes. He started the other day in the first game of this series when Framber was on the mound. The only run that the Rays scored in that game was a triple for Taylor Walls, and he lost the ball in the sun, and then the ball rolled off, and he had to go get it, and it was a triple for Taylor Walls. Then they had a sac fly and scored a run. There's only been a total of 4 runs scored in this series for the Tampa Bay Rays. The first one that they scored was so stupid, and Fromber actually got the run charged to him. It should have. Obviously that's not an error, but I don't know why it wasn't charged as an error for Leon. But that's another stupid mistake by Leon. But yeah, that's a little bit frustrating. But yeah. So that was the run that scored when Clevenger was in the 10th inning. But he doesn't get the earned run charged in, but he had 2 strikeouts and 1 walk. Scoring summary, Jeremy Pena with a home run to left center, 384 feet, it's 1-0. That is his third home run in the last 4 games, it's 1-0. And then Yandy Diaz, who's done a great job against the Astros this year, he reaches on a fielder's choice to second. Wall scored, it's 1-1. He had an RBI today going 1 for 4. Dubon in the 10th inning with a clutch RBI single to center. Leon scored and Myers to third. It's 2-1. And the Astros get the win. Let's go over Astros hitters. Jose Altuve was 0 for 4 today. 0 for 9 in these final 2 games against the team. He's killed his whole career. It's a little bit frustrating. He started off really good in this series, 2 for 5 on Monday, but then these last 2 games were terrible. So that's not great. He struck out. He lined out a couple times. He fouled out to catcher. And now he's officially batting under 300. Alex Bregman went 0 for 4. Bregman was so great in this series. Almost had a cycle yesterday. Absolutely terrific in the first 2 games of this series. So, you knew he was going to have an off day somewhere in these next couple games after the last couple of games for him. But, yeah, it was a tough day. He had a couple of foul outs to catcher in first. Had a fly out and a ground out, but it is what it is. Yordan Alvarez went 0 for 2 today. He had a couple walks in the 4th and 6th inning, but then flied out to left twice in the 1st and the 9th inning. His first and last at bats. And then Yainer Diaz went 0 for 4. It was off day for him. He had a couple pop outs, a strikeout. Leon replaced him, scored a run. Also, Caratini would come in late in the game at catcher for the Astros after they took out Yainer Diaz. Jeremy Pena went 1 for 4 today. He had one of the 2 hits with a home run. He struck out and flied out and popped out in his other at-bats. Zach DeZinzo, the rookie, in his last couple games has not looked too good. This is his first game where he's had multiple strikeouts in a game. Struck out twice today and grounded out a couple times to third. Jake Myers went 0 for 3 today. He did have a 10th inning walk, which was huge. He even stole a base in that inning. So not bad from Jake Myers. He didn't strike. I'm not mad about Jake. The whole offense was doing terrible besides Dubon and Pena, so you can't really complain about one guy and not complain about the whole team. Well, there is one guy I am going to complain about in a minute. But, Jake did a solid job in that 10th inning getting a clutch walk for the Astros. Which was a big walk for the Astros, and then stole a base, which ultimately for the Astros was a situation where they had 2 runners on in scoring position with Dubon at the plate. And speaking of Dubon, I thought he was great today. He went 1 for 3. His first at bat was a foul out to first. A lot of foul outs, my goodness. Then his 5th inning at bat, he scored. He had a walk. And this was right after Pena's home run, so he tried to keep that inning going. But what I really loved about his walk is he really stayed patient in this at bat, was finding a bunch of foul balls, which is the same thing for his RBI single as well. But in the 5th inning, he walked and he was like, the count was like 1-2. Got it all the way back to full count and got a walk. Very patient at bat. Love to see it. The 8th inning, he grounded out to shortstop. But in that 10th inning at bat, where he had the RBI single to score Leon and Myers got the third, very patient at bat by Dubon. Same thing with his walk. He crushes one to center field to give the Astros the lead. Dubon was fantastic today for the Astros. And with the White Sox coming into town, that could be a series for Dubon to heat up. I'd like to see him in the lineup for the Astros a little bit in this upcoming series against the White Sox. That's a good way to heat up. Then Chas McCormick. Yeah, this is the guy, when I was talking about complaining about somebody, this is the guy I was talking about. Chas McCormick doesn't need to be in this lineup anymore. Caratini is a guy who was not in this lineup today. We've seen Yainer Diaz play first base. I know that it caused a little bit of an issue in the outfield because, you're kind of forced to potentially put Yordan Alvarez in the outfield almost every day if Chas McCormick's not in the lineup or Pedro Leon is playing instead of Chas McCormick. I don't know if he's much better than Chas McCormick, but I've heard about potentially putting Zach DeZenzo in the outfield. Much rather have him than Chas McCormick. He struck out in every single at-bat he had today. That is terrible. Struck out swinging every single at-bat. It's not like none of them were looking strikeouts, all swinging strikeouts. I for sure don't want to see him on Friday when the Astros take on Garrett Crochet, because that is basically like, this is a free out, this is a free out, Chicago. With them having a couple, pitchers on the mound on Saturday and Sunday who are not very good and have weak ERAs, I'm not going to say I wouldn't mind for Chas to be in the lineup on Saturday and Sunday, but I guess those are games where he could find his groove if that's where they're... Right now it feels like they continue to put him in the lineup because they're hoping he'll find his bat again. And if they're doing that, I feel like on Saturday and Sunday those are good opportunities because the Astros are facing bad pitchers against the White Sox on Saturday and Sunday. I don't want to see him in the lineup, but if they're trying to get him to find his bat again, I guess you could do that. But he's just brutal. He's brutal. And his batting average is under 200 now, 198. It is brutal. All right, let's go over to the pitching. Renel Blanco pitched 6 innings, gave it 2 hits, 0 earned runs, 0 walks, 4 strikeouts. A little surprising that his strikeouts weren't a little bit higher, but he was fantastic. And Renel recently has had a little bit of issue with walks and pitch count. His pitch count getting way too high. That was not an issue at all today. Only 73 pitches in 6 innings. The Astros could have brought him out. Realistically, he could have gone a 7th and 8th inning in this game. It would have been perfectly lined up, too. He would have been around 100 pitches if he goes almost 8 innings in this ball game, if not exactly 8 innings. But I love that for the Astros, not bring him in and out in that 7th inning because you're potentially, asking for some damage to be made if he's a little bit tired. And he's a guy who's pitched so much this year. I don't think you want him going out there in the 7th inning when you're going into an off day tomorrow. The bullpen is going to be rested up tomorrow, so there's no need to put Blanco out there in that 7th inning. Love that call by the Astros. And then Caleb Ort would come in and pitch the first out of the 7th inning. He had some trouble, which we haven't seen him have a lot of trouble this year so far. He gave up 2 walks, didn't give up any hits, but the Astros, smart decision here, decided to take him out, bring in Taylor Scott for the last 2 outs. He gets the last 2 outs with a strikeout. Great. Brian Abreu, he did have some trouble. He does give up a walk, and that turns into earned run. Didn't give up a hit, though, in that inning. And one of the reasons why they scored was because the runner that had a walk stole a base, then the runner got to third. Then the runner got to third base, I believe. The runner made all the way to third base, and then there was a fielder's choice for Yandy Diaz. But yeah, so anyways, after Brian Abreu pitched in that inning, we saw Josh Hader in the 9th and the 10th inning, and I already went over what he did. He looked amazing for the Astros in this game. Let me know your thoughts on the Astros getting the 2-1 win and the sweep against the Tampa Bay Rays in the comment section, and peace out. Go Astros.